Today on the Long Gunner, we're going to be testing out one of the most vanilla loads out there. The 140 grain ELD-M over top of some H4350 and a 6.5 Creedmoor. But regardless of how basic this load is, the work's still got to be done because it is just the all-around general purpose load for a 6.5 Creedmoor. So to preface this test just a little bit, I already have done the pressure testing on this rifle with a little bit of this load. I just haven't tested it for accuracy. Now, this combo that we're running here, which is the 140 grain ELD-M, I'm using Starline cases instead of Hornady cases, using Federal Gold Medal Match. They are large rifle primers, and we're running H4350 for powder. Now, the books will tell you, or I should say most of the books will tell you, that about 41.5 grains is where their max load is set at on here. Well, with this 20-inch barrel and this load and being different cases, I reached pressure at about 0.2 less than what the book recommends. So about, it was 41.3 grains. You start going over 2,670 feet per second, and all the shells that I shot that were over that, that's where you start seeing ejector marks in them. So to save my cases, we're not going to go over that. But yet, on the bottom end of it, I don't really want to be below 2,600 feet per second because I think that it's just going to be going too slow. So I got about a 70 foot per second window here that we're going to try out, and in 4 different loads and 0.3 different increments here, starting at 40.3 grains and then working up to 41.2 grains, and hopefully this will work out. Okay, let's shoot this first load of 40.3 grains. Magazine messing up there. Ooh. Yeah, this one ain't turning out nearly as good as I'd hoped. So that was an average of 2615 with an SD of 5.7, but that group, that was kind of disappointing. Those first 2 look like, you know, they touched, and then after that things kind of fell apart a little bit. Hopefully it does a lot better than that. On to the next load, 40.6 grains. So 2637. Magazine's messing up today. Yeah, somewhat. That first one was a little bit high and right. The next 4 didn't do too shabby. We got an average of 2638 and an SD of 8.2 feet per second. So this one is 40.9 grains. Yeah, there, did it again. tap that time. Boy, that heat distortion came back on that last one. I think that last one was that heat distortion. But average of 2654 with an SD of 4.4. So while we're sitting here waiting for this thing to cool down, I want to remind you that if you like this type of content, go ahead, hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And if you want to go ahead and help support the channel, hit that super thanks button, because Lord knows the price of ammo and components ain't getting any cheaper. All right, last one, 41.2 grains. Hopefully we can get this one to end up in a one-hole group. I tried the other day, if you saw that picture on my post, that I mean, it shot about 0.55, or was it a 0.490, I don't remember, but around a ½ inch 5-shot group with 40.5 grains. And today it seems like we got, you know, a couple of those pretty close, but just fighting this heat distortion here. Man, again that mag messed up. Here we go, wrecking it. A little bit stiff on the no wonder. SDs are going a little bit on that one. Well, things kind of fell apart on that one. Average was 2681, so again there was a couple of them stuck just a little bit, but the SD was 17.3, so yeah, max was 2712 and minimum was 2669, so the SDs just did not hang in with that one, and the group definitely shows it. So I think we got to go a little bit lower node on that. Well, looking at the results, I'm a little bit disappointed in it, but I mean, there was a lot of heat distortion. It rained all day yesterday, and now that the sun's coming out, going up that way, there's a little bit of a hill, and I'm just skimming over the ground, and that heat distortion just burns this thing some days. But nonetheless, the SDs are looking good throughout this. I mean, minus the last one's not great, but I mean, the first group 5.7 SD, then 8.2, and then 4.4. So I mean, that looks pretty good. The last one, I mean, for like factory ammo, it'd be all right. 17.3, but I mean, we can do better than that as hand loading. Seems like for the most part, there's 4 of them that want to group together in around half MOA, and then 1 of them that is outside of that group. So I think maybe the next step to do on here would be adjust seating depth, because putting the gauge in here and testing how far we are to the lands, I just left my seater at the last setting that I'd used for my other 6.5, that element. Well, on this, judging that throat distance in there, that lead, for cartridge overall length, that jumps it clear out to, I think it touched at 2.910, which is, you know, a ways out there. And I believe where I've got these sitting is at 2.8400. So I mean, we're jumping a substantial amount right there. So I think we might play with that a little bit more. Try to get a little bit closer, see what it does, maybe about 20 thousandths off, you know, somewhere 10-20 thousandths off, but that is extending that rather far. The Hornady manual puts the the max overall length at 2.800 if I remember right. So we are way beyond that. But I'm assuming that they do that to, you know, counter what you're using for a mag. You know, whether you're using a P mag, a SR25 mag, something, you know, like this Tikka mag, they probably put it to the shortest common length in there. That way that length should fit on everything. But in this, that is jumping a ton. So I think that's what we're gonna have to do. We might go around that 40.6 grains. If you take a look at those, if I can get this to stay still in there, that overall height across here isn't too bad. And when I shot that group the other day at 40.5, it was kind of right in there at that same height. So I think I'll go ahead and maybe just redo this 40.6 or 40.5, and we'll do a little bit of seating depth on it and see what that looks like in the next video. All right, so we are back for part 2 of the 140 grain ELD-Ms and the 6.5 Creedmoor.